In recent years, the popularity of short-term rentals has exploded. Many property owners have started to take advantage of this trend, myself included. However, managing a short-term rental can be a challenging task, especially if you're doing it remotely like me. In this video, what I want to do is explore both the benefits and the challenges of managing a short-term rental from afar so that you can make an informed decision on whether or not it's right for you. So go ahead and sit back, relax, and let's dive into the world of remote short-term rental management and investing.
So one of the questions we get all the time is it okay, or should I maybe consider looking at managing a property that's remote? That's not, for someone that's brand new, we typically recommend they start in their own backyard just to get some experience under their belt. But depending on where a student may be located, that may not always be possible or may not always be the best idea, just depending on what local regulations, what have you look like, okay? Now, we are managing or starting to manage a property for actually a client of ours in Calgary, okay? So we call this the Daffodil House. It's a very unique property. It's a 1910 vintage, so it's got a lot of historical characteristics to it. We really speak to this in the listing in terms of the history, the uniqueness, how it really stands out, and some of the different factors in the neighborhood, all these different things. But you'll probably notice, the reviews we've had have not been that fantastic. Okay, now we're going to get into the financial statement in a moment here, and this is always someone's deepest fear. If they're managing a property from far away, what is the worst possible case scenario that can happen? So let's talk about it, because we had a very interesting year so far in this property. Now, diving into the financial, we have actually been managing this property from about July last year until present day today. But one of the biggest challenges we had, so I want to paint a picture for you, Michael. So within Calgary, every year, there's something called the Calgary Stampede. Have you heard of Stampede before?
Well, there was I think a pro football team years ago, the Calgary Stampeders, right?
Okay.
That's all I know.
Yeah, okay. The Calgary Stampede it's a big deal. It's a big deal in Alberta. Like, basically the whole city shuts down for almost like 2 weeks, and people just get all kinds of, people go crazy over it, right? So we had this booking where, now overall for like 6 months, we did, 38 grand on it. Not too bad. But what really missed the mark on this particular property, we had a booking come in for around a 2.5 month period over the peak season of the year for $40,000 just off one booking for 2.5 months. Okay.
Wow.
We were ecstatic. We were spiking the football. We're like, man, this is so great. This is amazing. What ended up happening within 1 week of us having that guest check into the property, because I mentioned earlier, this is a 1910 vintage home, a pipe burst in an interior wall of the property, completely flooded the basement, and we had to give almost all of that money back.
Wow. Okay, that is the worst case scenario. Yep.
So what do we do? Well, I mean, what do you do when you have a problem? You just start tackling it, right? So what ended up happening, we ended up getting a remediation company in there. Now, because this is a partnership deal, our business did not experience the costs of having to actually restore and bring the property back to its former condition. But from an opportunity cost standpoint, we lost on a huge amount of revenue, absolutely huge amount of revenue. I mean, $40,000, like those kinds of bookings don't come around all the time. Right? So anyways, sorry, go ahead, Michael.
Did you guys get the property back after it got restored?
Yeah, so it was down for about a month, give or take. It was a real mess, but we ended up getting operations kicking over and turning again. And overall, this has still been a relatively decent unit for us. So getting into kind of the nuts and bolts, this deal is a partnership. So it wasn't kind of like the last example where it was a quasi hybrid of rental arbitrage turning into. This is 100% a partnership deal. So we do not have a lease. We had no deposit. And for all the furnishings that you see in this property, we did not pay for them. Okay. That was actually covered by the homeowner in this particular case. And it's actually a good friend of ours. So anyways, getting into the details. So this property over a 6 month period still did, a respectable, just shy of around $39,000. So not too bad. So getting into some of the different costs, again, it's going to look very similar to the last example. Service fees, you got to pay our maids, property management service. left us with around $30,000 gross profit. Okay. Management fees, that's the actual disbursements that go to my client. We had to refund a guest another time. Long story short, to the business, we made around $8,100 on this in 6 months, 21% profit margin on just shy of 39 grand. So the numbers obviously would have been a lot better if we had kept that $40,000 booking, but overall, it's still very early in the life of the management of this property. So looking to 2023, are we going to do anything different? No, we're going to continue to manage it, see what happens, weigh the headache to income ratio and go from there. So.
Yeah, and I love you diving into the different property types, the different examples, and ultimately how you guys went through your thought process up front and identifying these properties and why, and then just lifting up the hood here and showing us the actual financials, so everyone is seeing them for themselves. It's not talk. You guys are doing these deals. So let's say someone's watched this, they've taken a look at your other videos. We'll obviously drop those playlists below. What does that next step look like, and then what does the coaching itself all encompass?
What it looks like from here is if we see your email come in, we will personally reach out to you and we'll book a consultation call, and there's no sales pressure here. We're just going to have a very candid, open conversation to see where you're at, what your goals are, what your challenges you're running into, and then see if we can help you bridge the gap. That's it. Okay. Because we'll tell you right now, this is not a good fit for everyone. Okay. Because as I mentioned earlier on the call, if you're not prepared to hustle, you're not prepared to put the work in, you're not prepared to really be teachable and learn and actually develop new set of skills, short-term rentals is it's not a passive strategy in the beginning. Okay. You can make it more passive over time by installing different systems, having team members and processes, and having that all clearly documented. And we show people how to do that within the training. But again, if you're not willing to put the sweat equity in the beginning, this is definitely not the right fit for that kind of person. But for those that are really committed and they want to make 2023 a year to remember, to look back on when they watched this initial interview and said, that's the day that everything started to change, feel free to reach out to us at BNB Bootcamp at VIPfinancialeducation.com. That's BNB Bootcamp at VIPfinancialeducation.com. And we will personally get in touch with you to schedule that call. Now, in terms of the structure, as you had asked, of how the training is, essentially put together, a few different components. Okay, so when someone gets invited into our program, we have training modules, so online, so you can learn the material at your own pace. It's self-directed, and that's really the nuts and bolts of the how-to information. So, for anyone that's coming into this, if they just literally commit themselves, have a little bit of time every day, watch the videos, implement it, watch the videos, implement it, you'll have a very thriving business. That's the goal anyway, by the end of the program. Now, of course, anyone that's going through this, there's going to be nuances. And we've used that word a few times on this call. You're going to have questions. There's going to be challenges that come up. There's going to be things that happen that you don't expect, that you maybe need another set of eyes on in order to have some support around. So in addition to the weekly training modules, we hop on a call with all of our students once a week. The program itself is 4 months. So that's 16 calls that you have with myself and Katrina. And we are personally guiding you through every step of the program, every step of the process, because our entire intention and goal is that by the time you're done, we should have ideally at least one, if not several properties up and running, generating cash flow, taking in income. And you'll know exactly the nut and bolt mechanics of what it takes to then go take that process and to simply duplicate, rinse, and repeat. And then over time, it's just a matter of how many times you have to do that until you hit your income goal. Okay. But inside of that, literally anything that you can think of in order to make the process easier. So we have, setup checklists, furnishing checklists, all the different tools and softwares and technologies we personally leverage in our business, step-by-step tutorials, how to set them up. And the final component is our community. Okay. We do have a private Facebook members group. And I would say, if I was to take everything else out of it, and if we only had that, that would probably be worth more than the entire value of the program. Because when you're in the environment of like-minded people that are on the same trajectory, that are on the same journey, and are wanting to have a better life, and are wanting to really do something different, just being in that peer group of people that are taking that path, there's an enormous, they talk about the mastermind principles within the book, Think and Grow Rich. It is enormously powerful. Okay, so to sum all that up, online training videos, weekly accountability calls and training, and our private Facebook group. And within that, all the different tools, resources, and checklists you need in order to go and have success. We've tried to make this as simple, as easy as possible. Now, we're not going to say it was easy. This obviously takes work. But for those that are ready to roll up their sleeves and get busy, we could potentially be a very good fit for that person.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And again, we get time and time again, we're getting just positive feedback from our folks, which is why we continue to have you here on the channel. And you and Katrina have been gracious enough for our viewers to offer a discount. So I know that you guys are, there is scarcity. So you guys are, I believe, capping this at 10 per month for your next session. You only do one session a month. If you'd like to talk about the offer that you're willing to extend to our folks, and we certainly appreciate it.
Absolutely, yeah, and we have a very good relationship with you and Matt at VIP, so happy to discuss the mechanics of that. So normal retail price on this program is $15K, all right? But anyone that comes through the VIP financial education channel, we do give a discount, okay? So instead of coming in at 15, we do offer it for $99.97. We only take on 10 people a month. Okay. Reason why that is because just from an overall fulfillment capacity, from a business standpoint, we can't provision the kind of care, attention, and level of support that we need if we're just taking on hordes and hordes and hordes of students. Okay. If you're looking for something like that, I mean, there's tons of courses and stuff that you can find online that can give you something similar to that. But if you really want, direct contact and mentorship and have that ability to bounce ideas off of someone that's way ahead on their path and is looking back at where you're at and can tell you exactly what you need to do in order to get unstuck and to start getting traction. That's what we essentially provide within the BNB Bootcamp program.
Yeah, fantastic. And we certainly appreciate that discount, guys. And they do cap it at 10. So if you are interested in kicking the year off, so the next session would be starting for the month of February. So we're already a month in at that point into 2023. So if you want to take action, you really want to take control of your financial future starting in 2023, this may be the avenue for you. It certainly doesn't hurt to reach out and explore it. As always, do your own due diligence. We bring people on the channel that we've thoroughly vetted by design, but certainly go out there and do your own research. And obviously Michael and Katrina are an open book with their own numbers and their own portfolio, and they've proven today that they're happy to share. So thanks for joining us today. Would love to have you back on here in a few months, and would love to continue to bring your students on here. We love to get the testimonial feedback from them, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So in the meantime, guys, thanks for joining us here on the video today. If you want more content on the short-term rental space, and in particular BNB Bootcamp, go ahead and smash that thumbs up button below. We love new subscribers, so go ahead and subscribe and ding that bell notification if you want to see more videos from us here on the VIP Financial Education YouTube channel, where we help you go further, faster financially. Until next time, take care, make it a great day.